Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to No Filter Gen Z. We are young Americans fighting for the truth and to defend the truth. And today we got to talk about the Epstein situation, the newest, the breaking news and everything going on right now. But this is the first time that we've had the chance to come on here and talk about it. So before we get into anything, I'll just go over the basic stuff right now. A lot of people, even in the conservative movement, are mad that Trump is trying to avoid, or it looks like he's trying to avoid talking about it, because a lot of the time he's saying, let's move on, let's talk about other things, the economy, things that we're doing right now. And some of us in this movement are like, well, hold on. We think that we got to do it for the victims. They deserve justice, and this is not a simple issue that we should just push aside, because we voted for this in the 2024 election. You know, that was a part of what he ran on. It was actually one of the things that he did talk about. So some people are divided right now on this, but we are going to talk about our opinions, because it's no filter here. We're not just going to say what everyone wants to hear. We're going to talk about the real opinions that we have. So let's just start with you, Lydia. You can go first and tell us what you think about the whole situation, and then we'll break it down.
Gosh, well, I've been hearing about the Epstein thing for many years now. Just as far as, oh, the list, and then, like, there's certain people that rumored to be on it kind of thing. And then when this all kind of came to a head just, a week ago, I think it was just, coming up again, so to speak, obviously, because this has always been somewhat relevant. You had the conspiracy theorists over here that, like, have all these different theories about what may be going on. I feel like there's different versions of conspiracy theorists when especially it comes to the Epstein
And it's
files.
been going on for like 10 years of
Right.
different theories and all this stuff.
Yeah, and everyone seems to think something slightly different, but then we all kind of collectively, I feel like, want justice to be done. We want to be able to see the bad guys being put away and the victims, receiving justice as far as, seeing their, the people that had done whatever they had done against them.
Yeah, get the
And
punishment
so,
that they deserve.
exactly, a nice poetic justice, and
Yeah,
so I think, yeah, I think that's kind of where my knowledge began and kind of lies now. I think it's just a very complicated issue, and there's just so much to it. There really is. I know that's, a very general thing you could say just about anything, but I feel like in this particular case, I think acknowledging that there are so many different parts in it is very important.
yeah, and I think our generation, even Gen Z, is pretty vocal about this issue too. It's not just like a certain demographic or something. We're all actually rooting for the same thing. And this is where it started. This is what started my confusion with the situation, is this right here. Pam
Yeah.
Bondi, you guys remember when this happened? She hands out these Epstein files folders that say phase one, these binders. And we're all like, oh, good. So we're actually going to get some answers. Well, then it ended up being really nothing. And if it says phase one, that implies that there's, phase two and three and four. So we were like getting ready to see some actual things about the case come out. So it was a weird transition. It was like over promising and under delivering on something that we all actually care about. So it's not a good look. And I think it's one of the biggest fumbles of the Trump administration. Like, there's been so many good things. We've been on such a good streak of like stock market, economy, border, all these good things. But then this one thing is kind of taking the spotlight. And it's kind of sad because it's overshadowing all the good things going on. So I wish we could just get to the bottom of it and get over it. Like, get some answers, and then we can move on. But when we were promised something, we can't just move on with nothing. So it was weird that they promised this and nothing came out of it. But Elijah, what do you think about it?
I think that, it's not, the most important thing in the world to me right now. I think it's important, of course. People got hurt, especially like little kids got hurt, and they need justice just the same as what everyone wants. And to be honest with you, I could care less if the files are released. I just want the justice to be served. I could find out nothing about what's going on, but as long as I know that the people involved are in jail and are rotting, or, some sort of justice, whatever that may be, is happening, as long as that's happening, I'm just a member of the public. We're not going to know everything.
Yeah.
But as long as something's being done and the promise is being upheld, that Trump, this is literally something he was running on for a while. Like he was running on this, saying that he would expose it, he would reveal it, and
And by the
then
way, he has released the files for JFK and
yeah.
different things like that. There has been some files released, but this one, there hasn't been much being done.
Yeah. And I got my own theories on why, but
Yeah,
when you say something, especially Trump, you figure he's going to do it. I mean, that's what he's
because
done with everything
that's the
else.
trend with everything he's done. He does what he says
Yeah.
he's going to do. So this
So
caught a lot of people off guard.
it just
Um,
seems extra fishy that he
yeah.
isn't.
Well, the weird thing is that why would you say you're going to do it and bring attention to it, and then now all of a sudden the FBI comes out and says there's no evidence? Like that's what got everyone like
Yeah.
really confused, because not even long ago we were we assumed that there was stuff, and then like because the binder thing, like if you're going to do that, that means there's something, and then the FBI comes out and says we've found no conclusive evidence or no evidence of any list or anything, and we're like, what? Like, why would we do the whole binder thing and all this stuff if there was no list or evidence that Epstein was involved with other people?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then there's the whole theory floating around. Well, the very obvious elephant in the room, I guess, so to speak, is that, oh, Trump is on the list. But the thing is, we know, regardless if Trump is, on the list or not, we do know that he had some, connections with Epstein, in the early 90s, but so many people did.
He was
Because you
very
look at,
famous, had a lot
he
of
was, yes,
just
very
meetings with
influential.
people, and like, yeah, very
Yeah, he was
influential.
very influential. Everyone, that was in
Parties.
the powerful realm and, had money knew him and had contact with him. So, of course, Trump's name will probably be in the files, not necessarily on the list, but, I mean, who knows? But I don't believe so. I believe
He was
files,
he's in
potentially.
a flight log somewhere that we've known about for 10 years,
Exactly.
but that's all. There was nothing ever else. It was just a flight log that he was on Epstein's jet one time, not even going to the island, but just in general traveling on it. That's all we've seen ever. So I I don't personally think he would be on it in a different way, because why would
Right.
the Biden administration not release anything when they were
Exactly.
in office for 4 years and had the chance to stop Trump from running again by doing something that big? Now, there's a lot of
Yeah.
different theories, and we'll get into our own in a second. But the thing we're at right now learning is that Trump continuously is saying, like, let's move on, let's talk about something else. But something that came out I think just like yesterday or last week, I guess, is this right here. Pam Bondi says she officially filed a court motion to unseal the Epstein grand jury testimony files, which is this is really big, because Trump finally came out and said, since so many people, he doesn't like that we're even wasting time on it. He thinks it's a waste of time. But he's like, since so many people are still talking about this, he said he assigned Pam Bondi to release the court files or whatever, the court testimony. So at least we're getting somewhere, right?
Yeah. I'm just hoping, as far as the files, that not a lot of it is, encrypted, so to speak.
Yeah.
I hope that we will be able to see, because clearly, if Trump was guilty, I don't think he would be releasing stuff like this, because this could be incriminating for him
Yeah.
if it was released and he was a culprit, so to speak. So I think that also, I think, is a huge giveaway, that I just think there are a lot of rich and powerful people that are against him that are on it. And I think that is why there has been so much pushback from him personally. I think that's why he was trying to. I don't think it's not that he didn't want justice to be done. I think he was just concerned about the pushback that
Well,
he would get from other people.
he was also concerned, and this is fair too, that he was concerned that innocent people that just had met him before would come up on the list somewhere and then get completely attacked and canceled, all these
Right.
things, when even if it was just like a simple seeing him at a party or something. So
Yes.
that's the weird lines in the sand right now, is like there could be people he met that aren't actually guilty of anything. And so we
yeah.
got to be careful, because in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. So if there's evidence, go ahead. I'm all for putting those people in jail. Even if Trump's on the list in a way like that, yeah, like put him in jail. I don't care. But I really don't think he is. And I think here's what I personally think. I think there could be someone from Israel tied to this, someone high up in the Israeli government that has something on this or in it that would kind of mess up the ties with the U.S. And Trump is in a position where he's like, well, if they're holding this against me, and we need them as an ally, like it's a difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There's so many theories, though. That's just one of them. And another one that I could think of is that maybe Trump is actually holding it as leverage against the deep state. Like, what if there are people on it and he's using it to still get things done without them trying to do all the things they did the first term, you know?
Yeah.
Elijah, what do you think is going on? Like, your personal theories.
For me, I think the big thing for me is I think that the left has had so much time. They've had how many presidents in the past couple of years? They've had so many times to just change and manipulate and take people off. Like, you really think these people in the government who have power and access to these files, even people in the FBI, you don't think they would try and get their name cleared and maybe even tamper with it to keep themselves in power? We really don't think that would happen. You trust the government that much? Like, I can't personally. So I think Trump is seeing that these things have been tampered with since 2016 even. And
Yeah, some people
since
think
then,
there's even been evidence that's been destroyed by the last administration. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
There's no that's just another thing people are thinking. We're
yeah.
not going to say
You,
that's happening, but it could
yeah,
have, you know?
you don't know for sure is the thing. Like, are we going to trust the government that much?
Right.
Should
Yeah.
we?
And I feel like it also makes you wonder because Camden, you had brought up earlier about how the Biden administration, they very well could have done something and revealed something about this, with his administration in 2020. But then I think back and I'm like, I don't ever remember hearing them ever talk about it. Like, it
For a
never was a
reason.
big thing for a reason,
Hmm.
meaning that they either maybe have cahoots with it or they're close friends with
Right.
people that
Someone.
are within that. And so I also, when you were just talking about the deep state, so to speak, like he's using it as leverage. I remember Tulsi Gabbard, someone had pulled this clip from when she spoke at SAS last week, and how she said the deep state she either said like the deep state is getting deeper or the deep state is deeper than you think. And she's like,
Mm,
trust me, I know. I mean, she's director of national intelligence, so it's
right.
like when you hear that from someone within that position of leadership, that makes you really wonder. Like, that could be obviously a plethora of things, and I really do believe it is. But I think that could be a lot of, like, she almost not talking in code, but I think she's trying to let us know, like, it goes way deeper than we even realize.
It
In this case,
obviously
but in so many
does.
others.
It obviously
Yeah.
does because we just heard that the whole Russian hoax was actually conspired by Obama and that administration. Like, written
Yep.
evidence of this. This is not just like a theory anymore. They found evidence of it that they did this intentionally, and so that leads me to believe there's a lot more that we don't know. You know, and it could be
Gosh,
with
there's so
Epstein. It could
much.
be with other things that the deep state that we just don't have the intel for. Like, and like Elijah said, we probably won't as just Americans. We're not going to know every single detail of this stuff, and I think even if it wasn't like they didn't release it during Biden's presidency, but even if it wasn't because of a different reason, why are they not talking about it right now? Like, look at all the leaders right now. Obama hasn't said one word. Um,
Clintons?
Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, no words. Nancy Pelosi, nothing. Why? Why are all these powerful people not speaking up? Because there's probably someone up high in power, not even just saying it could be them, it could be someone in relation to them that they're all protecting. So we don't even know, you know?
And you can see how much of a deal this is for the Democratic voters. Like, how many of them are pissed off right now at Trump because he's
Well, they're
not
going to
releasing
find,
these
yeah, the
files?
one thing.
And they've been pretty neutral about this, just the same as we are. We all want to find out what happened. We all think it's bad. It's something that both Democrats and Republicans can come together and agree upon. But
Yes.
you don't hear their own leaders, the people they trust and vote for, talking about it and supporting. Like,
I actually think
Yeah.
that's making them lose faith in their own party right now because
yeah,
the leaders aren't talking about it, but the party is. And it shows me that, you know, we could work together more than we think with Democrats and
Yeah.
Republicans. Like, when
Yeah.
we agree on something like this, we can work together.
and we need
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
And
If
I
we're
feel
really going
like
to get stuff done.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Democratic voters, though, I will say in particular, I feel like they're only calling out Trump, but they're not calling out any of their leaders
Yeah.
necessarily. So it's like
Yeah.
obviously there is that shared disappointment between all of us that the Democratic Party and the leaders within the Democratic Party aren't talking about it. But it's a lot of the pointing fingers on us, I feel like, and not so
Hmm.
much to themselves, as in not to themselves, but to their leaders within
Yeah, I
their
agree with
party.
that.
So I've noticed that a lot. I mean, I see like in every comment section of anything Trump has posted for the White House, for his presidential account, it's like, oh yeah, so where's the Epstein files? Where's the list? Like it's like this kind of stuff, and it's all like, and obviously like probably a lot of that is Republicans or
Yeah.
independents. Like it's not just Democrats. Trust, I know that, but I just think that's interesting. I think we should definitely note that too as well.
Yeah, it's true,
There's
and
double
that's
standard.
that's gonna happen no matter what Trump
Yeah.
does, because there are
Of
certain
course.
people that actually don't care about anything but taking Trump down. Like there's those haters, it's the Trump derangement syndrome. So even if it wasn't any evidence or anything of Trump being on the list, they're gonna say anything they can because it's Trump. That's just gonna
Yep.
happen. The Wall Street Journal, though, they're saying some things right now. They just got sued, or they're getting sued at this very moment by Trump himself because they released a fabricated letter saying, I think actually Trump might have been waiting for this to come out. Like he's always a few steps ahead of everybody, but you guys can read this for yourself. But Elijah, what do you think? You're laughing.
I think this is one of the best comedy skits I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it. I don't think Trump would ever talk like this ever.
Doesn't
Um,
sound like it, does it?
he doesn't sound like a very touchy-feely kind of guy. I don't think he would be talking about a naked woman like this, not even to his closest friend. I think someone in the Wall Street Journal has a little fantasy going on, and they would like to write it down and shift the blame on someone else. They're
And
revealing something.
if he's instantly going to sue whoever did this, then he obviously is like, all right, this is completely fake. And they will probably win it. But everyone is obsessed with this because Trump knew Epstein, and a lot of people did, like we just mentioned, but they're obsessed with that relationship. And they're saying, oh, because he was seen with him before, that he's guilty. Well, that's not actually true. And there's actually a theory right now. I saw this on social media that we were just talking about this very thing, but they're saying if they dump the whole list, it's not going to be clean, or it's not going to be just here's everyone who's guilty. It'll be everyone who
Right.
ever shook Epstein's hand, flew on a plane, took a check for a charity, innocent people. Like it goes way deeper than just the people that are guilty. And so that's where, there probably is some hesitancy, but the American people still want transparency.
Yeah, and also I've heard a lot of people mention how, again, like it will be everyone that Epstein has interacted with, even on
Yeah.
smaller to larger scales. But it's also like people are saying it's not going to be a clean cut list. Here's number one. Here's number two.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
not going
list
to be
is
like that.
you have to feed through so much information to be able to point out names and things like that. So like I think in people's heads and even in my head, at one point, which that's easy to think that, but it's like nothing that classified would ever be that clear cut, like this is who's on it. So I think people also need to note that too as well. It's not as cut and dry as they think.
And also with how long this has been going on, there's obviously going to be things that are taken out and destroyed by
Yeah.
whoever's at the top. It's just insane to think that it's going to be a perfect list like that. But that still doesn't mean we're not saying that we don't care about it. We still want justice to be done. And I talked about this on my podcast, saying as a man of God, I want justice for the innocent children, because what are we called to do? Protect the innocent, protect children, protect the vulnerable. And so I want those people to be held accountable. And we don't know how that's going to happen or how long it's going to take. But I think there has to be a balance between being realistic and thinking, yes, this is something we prioritize, but we're not going to know everything as Americans, as not in the government.
Yeah, because again, we're not workers. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we might be in the government, but now we're average American
It's
citizens.
the same thing with Iran, though. Like when the whole Israel-Iran situation was happening, I was thinking, a lot of people were freaking out, and I was thinking, well, listen, our government, the people at the top, and the defense team, like Pete Hegseth and everybody, they're gonna know things we don't know. They're gonna have intel on what Iran's planning more than we do as people.
Yeah.
So we can't just go on social media and say this is how they should be acting and doing this, because we don't know everything. We don't have all the information. And when
Yeah.
you're dealing with not full information, when you're dealing with partial information, there's always going to be something that could have been or could have been better, you know?
Yeah, and we don't know how we would act if we were in this situation like the Trump administration is. So it's
Yeah.
like, obviously on the outside looking in, it's easy to be like, "Oh, we want justice. We want these things to be revealed now. Why aren't you revealing?" Like, we don't know. We don't know the little small things that are happening behind the scenes. And then I've also seen people, they were like analyzing Caroline Levitt's like press briefings, and like when she's telling the truth, she's wearing her cross necklace, and when she's lying or she's saying
Oh,
something
gosh.
sensitive,
Come on.
she's not wearing. I'm like, that is reading into it to the point of you have nothing better to do with your life, and you are picking apart someone who's just being the spokesperson on behalf of the Trump administration.
And she's doing a
And
great job too.
she probably even realize she's not wearing her cross necklace for certain press briefings, and others
And-
she's not.
And I will
Like-
say she was put in a hard situation because, of course,
Yes.
the minute they're going to tell her, all right, you're going to go and say this and then take questions about this. Well, she's not going to, it's not even, she's just taking orders, you know, she's doing her
Yep.
job. So she's in a difficult
Yeah.
position, but
She is.
doesn't mean that this whole thing doesn't mean we don't care about it. We do, but I think time will have to tell. Like nothing's going to get solved in a day, but the good thing, Representative Anna Paulina Luna, she actually spoke at Student Action Summit. She just released this a week ago when this is airing. While others were busy stabbing President Trump in the back, we were working overtime behind the scenes in the Oval Office. This photo was taken earlier today, and no, it's not a coincidence. This is 4D chess, not checkers. Welcome to
Yeah.
the big leagues. Enjoy Phase 3. Pam Bondi's unsealing grand jury testimony, and there's much more to come. This is the most transparent administration in U.S. history. So I like that they're taking action and not just sitting there and moving on completely like they were. Like, I think Trump actually heard how we all reacted, and especially at that event we all went to. I think there was a lot of realization to say, oh, wait, maybe they do really care about this and we got to do something. And that just shows we have a powerful voice and they're listening, and they're going to start releasing as much as they can. It's just, I don't know how long that's going to take for stuff to actually come out. But it's a good step.
Yeah, that's so. I did see her tweet that a little bit ago, and I appreciated that, because when I think back, obviously, like, we haven't been alive to see an abundance of presidential administrations, because, you know, we still were in our early 20s, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I talk to my parents and things like that when they see like different administrations, and they are able to compare and contrast. But I really do believe her when she talks about transparency within this administration in particular, because it's like, I don't even know if I can think off the top of my head how many. And again, it's different times too. Like, obviously, different presidential administrations have to deal with different things, just
Yeah.
depending on what's going on in the world, in the country even. But I think that's also something to note. And I think I do respect that, and I agree with her. I really do think, even though we haven't seen a lot administration wise in general with presidents, I definitely would.
It's something. And
Yeah.
I'll just say the handling of the situation was not good. Like, what's going on now when the actions they're taking are good, but the way they handled, and President Trump, the way he handled saying, like, are you guys really still talking about this? Like, that was dumb. That was not a smart move. Of course we are. We voted for that. So, and we're real enough here to say things even when it's our side doing something wrong. You know, we're going to call out everything, both sides. But Elijah, what's your final thoughts on where we go from here with, I guess, unsealing this stuff, but what's next? What's going to come out of it?
I don't think we're ever going to really figure out everything. I think most of that information is long gone by now. Some people are going to get away scot-free. That's just how it is. Unfortunately, people did not get on top of this as soon as they should have, and some scummy people are going to still be in power. And it sucks, but it is what it is. I always just find it funny when people point back to that picture, though. I'm like, dear God, he knew Jeffrey Epstein when he was popular and innocent and probably didn't tell anyone. I bet you his mother knew, too. I bet you Jeffrey Epstein's mother was a part of it. You know, they were with each other all the time.
I mean, that's how
So
people
much
are
time to
reacting.
talk. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
So stupid, but
Yeah.
got to bring some comedy to the situation. It's just stupid.
Yeah, and I
Really
think
stupid.
I'm just glad that they're Dan Bongino and Cash Patel and Pam Bondi are going to work it out and figure it out together. And Trump seems like he's optimistic about the team staying together, and that's what I want because
Yeah.
we gotta just we're here now, so you better work it out.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I know how many people talk about how much, especially Dan Bongino, just how much of a patriot he is and was before he got brought on. And so, like, to have potentially have almost lost him there, that would have been, like, honestly devastating for just the security of that particular department. You know what I mean? And, like, I feel like we would even be more so misled if we didn't have people like him, in
Yeah, he
positions of
obviously
leadership.
cares about figuring it out. That's what he did on his show for years. He investigated
Yeah.
stuff, so he cares. My last thought is that the truth will come to the light eventually, whether it's in this life or the next or in eternity. People are going to be held accountable for what they did. So
Yep.
that's what gives me hope. It doesn't matter exactly when, but it's going to happen, and we're going to keep fighting for it. But in the meantime, just remember that all hope is not lost, and we'll bring obviously any updates we do get as we go along because there's something new every day.
Gosh, that is true. But I guess we just got to sit tight and just really be patient, but also
Yeah,
just
patience.
be vigilant too, and be aware of like what information comes out and how to decipher and discern what is coming out and what's true and what's false. For sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you enjoyed this one, click that subscribe button. And we're here every Sunday with new episodes for No Filter. We're going to keep talking about the real conversations. We're not scared to be on the right or wrong side. We're going to say the truth and what we believe is the truth. So that's what we're going to keep doing. So if you like that, click the subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. Peace.